If you've watched my first Toyota Veloz features video, then you would recall that we are in the exact same place with the exact same car color, but this is not the top-spec Toyota Veloz V, but rather the base trim Toyota Veloz G. Now in this video, I am going to share with you why the base trim Veloz G doesn't make any sense. Let's do this. Hello guys, I'm Reagan and welcome back to another Toyota car feature. If you're new to my channel, I want you to click that subscribe button for your regular dose of Filipino automotive content. If you're my subscriber already, well, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. But first, click that like button. Also, special thanks to Toyota Valenzuela for providing the Toyota Veloz G to do this car feature. If you are within the area and you need a Toyota, well, head on down here to Toyota Valenzuela and check them out. For any inquiries, you may also contact Carlo Cruz in my pinned comment below. So what's with the provocative title and intro for this car feature? Well guys, the fact that there's such a tight space between the Avanza G, the Toyota Rush, and this Veloz right here means that having two Veloz trims in the local market makes absolutely zero sense to me. I mean, the fact that only 40,000 Philippine pesos separates the two Veloz trims also supports that. Now, this base spec Toyota Veloz G here has a retail price of 1,185,000 Philippine pesos. And if you decide to take out a car loan, going up to the top spec Veloz V and absorbing that 40,000 additional price means that it's practically negligible if you take out a car loan. In fact, if you take out a 5-year term for your car loan, then the increase in the monthly amortization is probably like a couple of cups of Starbucks coffee. Now, that, my friends, is the reason why this base trim Veloz G makes no sense to me, unless you are under a really, really tight budget. Now, given the 40,000 Philippine peso price difference between this base trim Veloz and the top spec Veloz, well, the exterior is practically identical. You see, the base trim gets the same front fascia design here, from the full LED lighting units down to the design of its front bumper. Heck, even the wheel size and design is identical. We get 17-inch alloy wheels here, as well as the side profile of this base trim is also the same as the one found in the top-spec Veloz. Now, the only way for you to determine if it's the base trim Veloz or the top-spec trim is by looking at the side mirrors, because the base trim doesn't get any cameras here, as well as the cameras found on the front grille. You see, the base trim doesn't get that. Now, other than that, guys, there's really no telling the difference between the two trims, because even if you look at the back, it doesn't get any badging that says it's a V or a G. I mean, the tailgate just says Toyota Veloz, and that's it. Even the engine here is identical to the top-spec Veloz. I mean, we also don't get an engine cover underneath this motor, similar to the top-spec trim. Now, what we have here is a 1.5-liter 4-cylinder gasoline motor that pumps out 105 horsepower and 138 Newton meters of torque. Now, this is also a front-wheel drive layout similar to the new Avanza. Now, the power is sent to the front wheels via a Daihatsu-developed DCVT transmission, which is tuned to maximize on transmission efficiency. Now, if the two Veloz trims are practically identical, then doesn't it make more sense to just get this base trim Veloz G and save on 40 grand? Well, not exactly, guys. You see, the exterior might be identical or almost identical, but the difference, that 40,000 peso price difference, yeah, that can be found right here inside the vehicle. And in fact, we only get two upgrades for the Veloz V versus this base trim Veloz G, but one of those upgrades can literally save your life. All right, the first difference here, or upgrade, is this base trim Veloz G only gets an 8-inch touchscreen infotainment system versus the larger 9-inch touchscreen infotainment screen found in the top-spec Veloz V. The thing is, guys, the functionality is practically the same between the two systems. We also get Apple CarPlay here, Android Auto, but we only get the image of a reverse camera versus a 360-degree view camera image in the top-spec Veloz V. Now, yeah, to be honest, guys, that 1-inch difference between this base trim and the top-spec Veloz, yeah, it doesn't really matter too much to me. Yeah, you know, that extra inch doesn't really matter, guys. Seriously, doesn't matter. It's really not the size of the ship, but the motion of the ocean. Anyway, I digress. The second difference or upgrade of the top-spec Veloz V over this base trim is Toyota Safety Sense. You see, this base trim Veloz G does not get Toyota Safety Sense, which, as I said, can literally save you and your family's life. You see, Toyota Safety Sense has lane departure alert, has a forward collision warning, has emergency braking. I mean, these are the stuff that will keep your drive safe at all times. Now, this base trim Toyota Veloz G that we have here only comes with passive safety bits, which you are now seeing on your screen. Now, some of you guys might say that you don't need that Toyota Safety Sense. But you have to keep in mind that this Veloz is primarily a family vehicle. And if you're a family man like me, well, safety should always be the top priority when you're buying a vehicle. The fact that this base trim Veloz G does not get Toyota Safety Sense does not make any sense to me. You see, guys, if I'm really saving money here, then I'll just go all out with my money saving strategy and go for, let's say, the top-spec Toyota Avanza G, which has some Toyota Safety Sense features, and it's essentially the same car for a whole lot less. However, guys, if I'm hell-bent to get a Toyota Veloz, then I'll just stretch my budget a little bit more and opt for the top-spec Toyota Veloz V. Now, guys, what about this base trim Veloz G right here? As I said, it only makes sense if you really want a Veloz and you're under a really, really tight budget. But if budget is really the concern, well, guys, the top-spec Toyota Avanza G is the more compelling choice. Thanks for watching.